Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kelly Wicker and I'm so excited to have you here. I'm all about having fun while making quality, one-of-a-kind, handmade cards with all the supplies we buy. I've been needing to use my supplies and creating this channel has helped me do that. Don't forget to like, comment, and share your thoughts. I love hearing from you. Without further ado, let's jump right into the card making. So we're going to use the Apple-solutely-Awesome stamp set and the Grassy border dies and this really fun cloud stencil, another one that I found in my stash, and this is the cloudy stencil set. And then we're going to use the A7 layering, sorry, they're not A7, I have the A7 in here, but we're going to be using the A2 layering dies from Waffle Flower to cut out the background for the card. So I have my Misti ready to go here with all my stamped images on the door, and I have my Copic friendly cardstock here along with my Copic friendly ink. I'm using jet black ink from Lawn Fawn. So I get my jet black ink and my Copic markers that I picked out there, and I start to ink up the stamped images. I think I stamped this out 3 times to get some good coverage. I get my stamp pressure tool here as I close the door and give it some nice pressure. This helps give that nice black crisp line that we want. There we go, we're stamping it again. Like I said, I think I stamped it 3 times. I think I need to refill my ink pad. There we go. Press it down. And a few more areas that need filled in. So we'll stamp it a 3rd time. There we go. And give it some good pressure. And hopefully that's it. Yep, that looks good. There's a story about why I made this card in the middle of the video. This is a reminder to stay tuned. Since I'm not that great at coloring with my Copics, I thought I would speed up this part of the process so you don't have to watch me color in real time. And I'm going to add some music to make it more enjoyable. Once all that coloring is done, I take the coordinating dies and I line them all up to the colored images here with some highlight tape. It's just some very low-tech tape so it doesn't rip the paper, it just holds down the dies. And I take that to my die cutting machine. I am not a fussy cutter, I'm going to have the matching dies as you see there. So here's all the pieces that I cut out. They look so cute. I added so much detail in the coloring. I think it turned out great. So I'm setting up here to create our cloud background. I'm using the Salvage Patina Distress Oxide ink and my mini blending tools from Ranger. I also have this sticky mat out. I bought this from Simon Says Stamp. It helps hold the stencil and the cardstock in place. And underneath that I have the Tim Holtz Mixed Media Grip holding the sticky mat in place so it doesn't shift. And you want to rotate the clouds as you go along because it helps give it that layered look. So there we go. Trying to find the right placement for it. Inking up the brush, and you kind of want to go in with the light pressure here, not too heavy. And leaving some white in between each cloud that I create. I can't remember if I mentioned this earlier in the video, but I also wanted to talk about the cardstock that I'm using for my blending panel here. I'm using Nina Classic Crest Solar White cardstock and the 110 pound weight. I prefer the 110 pound over the 80 pound. It just works better for me. It gives me the best results. So, and remember, you don't want to worry about being perfect here. Nothing needs to be perfect. I just wanted to say a quote that my husband always shares with me a lot, and it's a good reminder. I'm not sure who said it, but he always tells me, perfect is the enemy of good, which is so true. So I'm just finishing up the cloud background here, lining up for one more layer. I think that's the spot. Yep, that looks good. Inking up the blending tool. This is a great blending tool for projects like this. The mini blending tools from Ranger. And there we go. There's the cloud background. And then we just peel back the sticky mat and peel it off gently. And that's the media grip that I was talking about from Tim Holtz that was hiding behind the sticky mat. That's what was holding it in place. It works really nice. Okay, so now it's ready to set up to spray some shimmer onto this background. I got my splat box out here, and we're going to be using some shimmer spray. Oh, I thought I was going to do the mica stains, but I turned out that mica stain, the Phantom, it's called Phantom Mist, I think. That one actually didn't work. So I was just testing out the color here, and I'm like, oh, that's way too dark. That's not going to work. And so I'm drying off the nozzle, because you want to make sure to dry off the nozzle of those so they don't clog. So now I decided to get out shimmer spray, the one that I was actually referring to. I'll show you here in a second. There we go. That's the shimmer spray. It is, I'm trying to see who makes it. Imagine Crafts Sheer Shimmer Sparkle Spritz. So I'm just spraying it down here. There we go. That looks good. It adds a lot of shine and shimmer. See, I think the camera's picking it up there so you can see it. So pretty. So I got out my Altenew low-tech sticky mat here to help me do some blending. These are the grass pieces that I cut out using the Hillside border dies. So I'm just making sure I have the right ones for the right layers. Oh, let's try this one. I think this one will work. I wanted to make sure before, because I have colors in mind for them. So this mat works really well for blending. So it will hold the cardstock down without moving. So as I ink up the hillsides here, I thought I would share why I wanted to make this card for you today. This brought back some very fond memories of my childhood. My parents would take us apple picking in the fall, and we would go to this farm called Pineapple Farm, and they had the most amazing donuts. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to go, because every time I would just go, can we go for the donuts and not the apple picking? Because that's all that we really wanted. So, but anyways, we would also get a whole bunch of apples, and my mom would make the most wonderful apple pies with the apples. So that is some of the reasons why I wanted to make this card, because it just brought back some really happy memories from my childhood. So what are some of your favorite fall activities that you like to do? Let me know in the comments below. I'm just finishing inking up the grassy layers, getting out the twisted citron for the last layer, inking up the blending tool, We want quite a bit of ink on this layer. There we go. That looks good. It's just about done. There we go. So I'm getting out the Distress Mica stain, and this one is called Bumbling Cauldron. Where do they come up with these names? So I wanted to do some splatter on the hillsides here that we cut out and inked up. So I got out my splat box and a rag here to protect my work surface. So I shook it up. It was ready to go. I shook it up previously. And there we go. Just want to tap it over the areas. You don't need a lot. Just thought that would be a nice fun element to the card. See that nice shine? It looks good. And then I just decided to spray some because it was faster than tapping it. That looks so cool. And look at that, you can see it. Now you want to make sure you dry off the nozzle because you don't want the nozzle to clog. So remember to do that. And now we're going to set these off to the side to dry a little bit. I decided to spray some more on there just for good measure. There we go. Those look really pretty. So now it's time to complete the layers here and finish off the background of the card. So making sure it's dry. It seems to be okay. So I get up my Gina K dot runner here. I love this dot runner. It's one of my favorites. I think it lost its stickiness or ran out. So good thing I had some refills. There we go, putting in a new refill. I order all of these off of Amazon. I can get them here pretty quick. I will have the link to those in the description box below. Another reason I love this dot runner is it gives you time to put the pieces together before it goes permanent. So there's a little wiggle room for you to make sure you get your layers lined up just right. Just adding a bit more adhesive down to make sure everything adheres nicely. I love the detail in the Distress Oxides, all the different colors I picked for today's card. It just makes this background pop. And look at all that shimmer and sparkle from the mica stain and the shimmer spray that we used earlier. It just looks really pretty. See all that shine and shimmer? So pretty. So off camera, I cut out a piece of the gold matte cardstock from Simon Says stamp. I love this gold matte cardstock. I just think the background needed some contrast. So now I'm just adding some adhesive to the back here. Now to line it up. That's why I like this dot runner. It makes it easy. There we go. That looks great. That's why I love those A2 layering dies from Waffle Flower. They just make things so easy now. Check that out. It's so pretty. So now it's time to get out all the little images we stamped and colored earlier. And we need to find a place for them on the card. They all need a home here. So I'm adding the liquid glue to the back here. I know this is tedious, but it is way better than using that spray adhesive. I prefer the liquid glue. There we go. Get it all nice and filled in. And then this is going to be front and center on the card. since it's the biggest piece. It's kind of the star of the show here. Besides that beautiful background. I'm glad it doesn't cover it up too much. Just making sure it goes down nicely. There we go, pressing it down to make sure it adheres. And then we get the acrylic block out to definitely make sure that it adheres. So while the tree is adhering to the card panel there, I decided to go ahead and get out a sentiment here to stamp onto the little sign there that I created. So I picked the one that said fresh apples, which I thought was fitting for to go with the basket of apples. So I watched some Lawn Fawn coloring videos, and that's where I got the idea to add those wooden textures to the sign there. So I thought that looked really fun. So there we go. We're just using an acrylic block here to do some free range stamping. That turned out perfect. And we used the jet black ink there from Lawn Fawn. So that's all dry and adhered. Okay, so this next step was a little tricky. This sentiment that I'm about to show you how I did. I got out my Misti stamping tool. It's one of the best tools out there for any crafter. It's a must-have for your craft room. So I'm lining up, this is a 3 or 4 part sentiment that I'm adding to the card. So I'm using the grid lines on the Misti door to help line them up, which is really handy. There we go. I need it just right because I want it to fit on the card in a certain way. And I want it to squeeze above the top of the tree there. So just making sure they're all lined up before I ink it up, because there's no way I'll be able to fix that. I mean, sure there will be, but I don't want to have to fix it. So I'm laying down the magnet to keep it in place. I'm getting out my jet black Lawn Fawn ink again. There we go, just some nice light taps. See, it lined up perfectly. There's a few areas where it kind of looks a little slanted, but I think that looks kind of cool. Add some character to the card. So there we go. That looks awesome. So I was just putting the stamps away so I don't lose them. There's little small stamps. I want to make sure they are back with the packaging. So now I'm getting out my Altenew foam tape. We're going to add 4 strips of tape to the back of the card to make sure it's nice and sturdy. And that's usually the magic number here for this card size. So there we go. Now we're going to take off the backers. Get out my utility knife here. Just about done. That looks good. There we go. And now for the top folded card base. I love using the ones from Hero Arts. Those are my favorite. All pre-scored and ready to go. And then I'm using my Scor buddy here to help line up the card. And that turned out great. And just use the acrylic block there to help adhere it. So now I'm adding the finishing touches to the card here. Adding the little mice. They're so cute. They're so fun. This is just a super fun fall card. Whoop. Got a little bit of glue on the card. That's okay. Just got out my microfiber cloth and wiped it away. No big deal. So adding the ladder. These little elements just make this card. I love Lawn Fawn stamps. They're just so fun. So fun. There we go. The other mice on top of the ladder there, trying to reach for that apple. Super cute. So now I'm just going and placing all the other images onto the card. Here's a little basket full of fresh apples. So fun. This really does remind me of going apple picking with my family. One of these days I'm going to have to go visit my parents and go apple picking again in the fall. I think that farm's still there. I think it changed names. I don't know the name of it now. But I'm going to have to go back there one of these days and see if they have those yummy donuts. And have my mom make an apple pie again. And add that cute little heart to the tree. As I'm assembling the card here, finishing up the finishing touches, I just wanted to give a big shout out to all my existing subscribers and a big hello to all my new subscribers. Thank you so very much. I appreciate y'all. I hope you enjoyed this card and brought back some fall memories for you. And if you have any, like I said earlier, please share in the comments below. I would love to hear some fall memories that you have created over the years. It's just a super fun time with the cooler weather. I'm so glad to be getting over the heat. It's been miserable this summer in Texas. So the place where I would go apple picking was up in the Chicago area because I'm originally from Chicago. I've been in Texas now for over 20 years. This is home. But I just wanted to thank y'all so much. And I hope you're enjoying the videos as much as I am having fun making them and creating the cards for you. So please enjoy as I finish assembling this card. So I'm just taking my acrylic block to add to the card to make sure all the images are adhered. There we go. And now I'm taking my gel pen, my white gel pen, to add some finishing touches to the card. It really does make them pop. So just adding a little bit to the apples and the overalls. And I also wanted to remind y'all that I am selling my cards on Etsy, so please make sure to check that out. Thank you so much for watching today. I appreciate it.